beautiful souls, welcome back, or welcome to The Hawk and I. My name is Lana Zielinski, and I work in the spirit dimensions. And as always in all my videos, please take what resonates, and you're welcome to leave the rest right here. I get a lot of questions about spirit modalities, tools that are used to connect to the spirit world. Ouija boards, spirit boxes, tarot cards, pendulums, mediumship. Mediumship is a tool that is used to connect to the spirit dimensions. And is it safe? Is the biggest question that I get asked all the time, like almost daily when I'm working in my office or whether I'm working on Zoom. I get that question quite a bit. Now, the answer is fairly simple. The answer is if you know enough about the spirit dimensions to practice these things safely. Now, I have talked before a few times in my videos about how I will only work in the light. Do I believe that there are other dimensions of lower vibrational frequency? 100% I do believe that there are lower vibrational frequencies. I personally do not dance in it. I am not open to it. I work hard at keeping myself protected. I only work with a very high vibration of angelics, source energy, people who have passed. They are in an incredibly safe place for me to practice in. I also have incredible spiritual beliefs and practices to keep me there. I work with the angelics. I am big with my spirit animals. I know how to protect myself energetically from anything that may be of a lower vibration. I'm also really good at smudging, and I do practice smudging, and I put a lot of effort into always maintaining that alignment with only working in the light. And it's even in my physical world, I practice that as well. I work really hard on my own alignment. I work really hard on my own healing. I surround myself with like-minded people. I help people and stay in a very giving vibration. I maintain that in my physical life as well. I walk my talk. I only want what's best for learning, for love, for light. I'm a big believer in the vibration of love. I send it out to the universe, and that's where I stand. Now, if you had an electrical issue in your house and you have zero experience in electricity, would you try and rewire it yourself? No, most of us probably would not. We would either contact a professional or a contractor to come in and deal with the wiring in the house, because we may not be an electrician ourselves. You can take that analogy in many different ways. If you had a plumbing issue and you're not a plumber, you'd probably call a plumber. When it comes to using these modalities, it's extremely important to know how to use them. It is extremely important that if you're going to go see a healer or a medium or a tarot card reader, that you know a little bit about them, that they know how to use these modalities. Would I personally just pick up a tool that's used to connect to a dimension without knowing how to use it, without knowing how to protect myself and the people that may be around me using that tool? I personally, this is a Lana thing, I have a lot of respect for the spirit dimensions. I have a lot of respect for how to properly know how to use these tools. I have heard many, many stories from people who did not know how to use these tools, and I have had to go in and do some powerful smudging and cleansing and go in with some huge light workers from up there. I've had to bring some pretty heavy duty light beings with me to go in and clean up something that should not have been tampered with because people didn't know how to. And if we are at all open to that, if you are open to, receiving any kind of negative energy or any kind of negative entity, without protecting yourself, there's a chance that you're going to pick that up. You're going to, and does anything terrible happen? I haven't had any experience where something horrible has happened, you know, with playing in that kind of energy, but it's something that I take very seriously. It's something that I take great consideration into before I work in anything. Even if somebody asks me to come and do some spiritual activity assessment, I'm very careful knowing where I'm going and who from that dimension I'm bringing with me and how protected I am. Because that's the only place that I want to stand. And I think it's really important, if you have an interest in using any of these tools, that you educate yourself a little bit and learn how to protect yourself and to have respect for the tool that you're using. You know, because a lot of these things are not games. They're, you know, we kind of look at it as a curiosity, as a game. I personally have a very different perspective on it. Now, I do use and have over the past, not so much now, but I have taken many courses on tarot. I have worked with tarot cards. I don't do so much tarot readings now because of my mediumship. Tarot is an amazing vehicle to connect to, you know, source energy, to be able to connect to spirit guides, to be able to connect to what you need to know if you know how to use them. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, as using that as a vehicle. I mean, I've taught tarot before, and I have had my tarot cards done before, and it's a vehicle used to connect to the spirit dimensions. For me, what has kind of grown is my mediumship. So the more I grew my mediumship, the less and less tarot readings I did. And the reason for that is I would literally shuffle a deck of tarot cards and I'd be doing a tarot reading, and all of a sudden I would be connecting this way, and the tarot cards, you know, I wasn't using them. I was just completely channeling. So my ability to channel, my ability to connect just changed at a profound level, that the tarot card vehicle for me wasn't in the direction that I grew in. And I do pull some tarot card, you know, once in a while if a client will ask me. And people are really drawn to the tarot because it's visual. You can see the image on the card. So, you know, people tend to really like being able to see the message, rather than just kind of hear it. But it is, you know, it's very much a part of my learning, a part of the vehicle that I once used to connect to the spirit dimensions. And there are many glorious ways of working with these tools in a very positive and safe way. And I think that healers and readers, and tarot readers and mediums, people who are, you know, who are psychic, they have, for the most part, most of those people have spent a lot of time learning. They've taken many workshops. I know perhaps they've, you know, myself, I've traveled the world to spiritual colleges taking workshops. When I took trance mediumship, being able to go into trance and being able to connect to a spirit through the trance states, I wanted to go to the best spiritual college that had the best reputation and the most amazing teachers, because I wanted to learn how to do it very safely. Going into trance is something that is extremely powerful, and I only wanted to learn from the best because it was really important. It's the same thing with so many things. If you're going to learn how to astral travel, you need to be able to study the process, being able to be supported in that with people with experience. It's really important. The spiritual world and the spiritual dimensions, it's extremely profound, and there's so much learning there. And that's the route you kind of have to take when you're using or interested in being able to use modalities that are used to connect to the spiritual worlds. You know, some people will say, well, I want to contact the spiritual dimensions. Yeah, but it's more of a communication, because those dimensions are parallel with ours. It's, you know, it's being able to communicate and to develop those skills. We all have the ability to connect. Let me be very clear on that. Each and every one of you has your own gift within you to be able to connect. And learning is the process, and it grows, and it's glorious. And I am constantly learning. My mediumship is constantly changing, and I can feel it coming. All of a sudden, it's like I show up for work and it's like, oh, the place looks a little different today. I think we're working a bit different today. And sure enough, I'm learning a new way of working with spirit. And it's the same thing with, you know, many of those modalities that I've talked about. It's about learning how to properly and safely use them. I do hope that this video has brought you a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of awareness that if you're going to pick up a tool used to work with spirit or to communicate with the spirit dimensions, that you're doing it safely and that you know what you're doing. I wish you, as always, love, light, blessings, and a spirit-guided day.